Hi, this is Delta. In this video I want to share a little experiment I've been doing for a couple of weeks. I'm very chaotic and forgetful, and since a couple of months I've been making use of reminders on my phone more to help with this. I've been using it to remind me of things on my calendar so I don't have to look at it daily anymore, because at some point I always forget to do that and I start missing things, and that's pretty bad. And this has been working great for me so far. It's way harder for me to forget things now. But 2 weeks ago I had an idea. If reminders work so well, why not use them for everything? What if, instead of having to look at the time, you never have to look at the time anymore, but you set reminders? I mean, if you're repeatedly checking the time for something, you're waiting for a certain time, so if you know the time, you can just as well set a reminder for that. And the idea was pretty interesting to me, so I decided to try it out. So I started out with removing all visible clocks as much as possible from my phone and computer. I essentially tried to make it so I could go the longest time possible without knowing what time it is. My plan was that I'd set reminders for everything beforehand, so when it's time to go somewhere, when I have to prepare for something, even when I have to go to sleep. And to make sure that I never miss a reminder, I made it so it goes non-stop until I swipe it away. For some things I also needed a transition time, for example if I have to finish up what I'm doing. For that I could set a second reminder a little bit earlier. So I had to think a little about how my day should be structured. And if I still needed to know the time, I still had a clock app on my phone, but I tried to use this as little as possible. So I started the experiment, and during the day I came up with some other things I forgot to add, which I added to the calendar with a reminder. For things that happened every day, like going to sleep at a certain time, I could set repeating reminders so I'd only have to set it once. And at first it was pretty strange. I'd find myself wondering what time it was, but I didn't allow myself to go look at the time to answer that question. So in a way, it was kind of like I was suddenly in a void, to say it pretty dramatically. You were waiting for the next reminder, but you didn't have any information for when it would go off, so you just kind of sat there. Especially the evening was strange at first. I wondered how much more free time I had left, but I didn't have anything to go off of. For me, time has always felt like a pressure. I often worry about wasting my time, or I overfixate on how much time I have left for things. But because I didn't have a clock now, I just simply didn't have that information anymore. I'd say that getting used to it was pretty mild overall. I got used to it pretty quickly, like only a couple of days. But before I had the idea to start this experiment, I actually developed a tick to look at the time constantly. And it was pretty alleviating to not have a clock to look at anymore, which was pretty surprising. I mean, if you think about it, knowing what time it is actually irrelevant information if you know that you'll be reminded when something important happens. Also at work, later in the day, I couldn't look at the clock to see when I could leave. And yeah, you probably have the experience of like it being the last couple of hours in the day and looking at the clock like, oh, there's still 1 hour to go. I didn't have that annoyance anymore at all. Like, the thought would pop up like, oh, how much time do I still have left here? But it faded away pretty quickly once I realized that I'd get reminded on my own. And really the best part is the way evenings have changed. I'm completely not worrying about if I'm spending my free time well anymore. I don't calculate constantly in my head how much free time I have left, which is pretty nice. And I feel like I can take way more time to actually relax for things like games and hobbies and watching videos. The evenings now feel endless, even if it's not actually. But if you don't know what time it is, all that matters is what you're currently doing and what you feel like doing. Because you simply don't have any other information. Always knowing the time kinda freezes me up. You worry way too much about if what you're doing counts, but if you don't have that, you can just do whatever you want, and it's pretty nice. But it even helps if you need to get work done. Wherever you need to focus on your work, the time isn't there to distract you. All you need to worry about is what you're currently working on, and you can trust that when something else needs to happen, you'll just get a reminder. And if you're in a rush, it's not like knowing what time it is will make you go faster in any way, so I'd say it's only a win. So in conclusion, I'd say so far this experiment has been a big success, and I'll surely be doing it for longer. It would honestly be great if I'd never have to know again what time it is and to rely purely on reminders. But sadly, it's impossible to completely get rid of clocks. They're literally everywhere. You have physical clocks, and they're even in messaging apps in the form of message timestamps, which can't be removed. But getting rid of the most visible ones already makes a big difference. So hopefully this is something you can consider trying out. Maybe you can relate to some things I talked about. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. But if not, I hope it was at least interesting. It's a little bit of a different video, but Please let me know if you like it, and any feedback is always appreciated. So I hope you had an absolutely wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!